What is happening, baby? Welcome back to the Huddle Chat Sports Network's very own Fantasy Football Huddle, presented by Danklyfe brand and yours truly, Dallas Clark. As you can see, we got a little bit more of a business casual approach, not even business casual. We're getting straight down to business with this outfit today, ladies and gentlemen, because we have to get down to business with this week 4 waiver wire episode this week. If really I learned anything from week 3 and honestly weeks 1 through 3 in this fantasy football season, it's the fact that this is going to be one muddy ass fantasy football season, meaning you're going to have a hard time picking a lot of things going on in this fantasy football season. This seems like the most any given Sunday ass NFL season that I've been able to witness in a very long time. It's very hard to predict. Players that you're expecting to be really good are either hurt or not performing to the expectations that they should. Players that you really weren't expecting to be a big part of their team or a big part of their offense have been blowing the hinges off of fantasy football. When it comes to tight end, the top 10 tight ends in the league right now, when you look at all of them, they all consist of tight ends who have sucked for 2 weeks and had one good game, like Isaiah Likely or Hunter Henry, who we talked about on this version of this episode last week, and he let us all down. He let me down. He made me look stupid this week. And so we're going to really have to get down to business, lock in this week, and really figure out the ebbs and flows of this fantasy football season. So we're going to set you up for success today. We're going to start out with an injury report real quick. Just a couple of players that have really gone out missing in fantasy football, and a couple of big waiver wire ads that you can have this week that you really need to be paying attention to, especially if you're in need. You have that first NFL bye weeks right around the corner. So it's really going to be the perfect time, especially if you have the roster space, to really start to prepare for those onesie positions. If you have one quarterback or the one defense, even the kicker, those positions that you are going to end up scrambling during the bye week, it's smart to look a week or two ahead. And if you have that roster space, grab your backup quarterback in advance. Grab that defense who has a good matchup during your defense's bye week in advance. Go ahead and make your plans in advance and work that waiver wire, and I'm going to help you do just that here today. Without further ado, let's fill up our cups, roll something up, and get right into the waiver wire episode this week. First things first, when it comes to tight end, we're not going to spend a ton of time talking about tight ends because it's really going to be mostly dart throws at tight end. Good luck picking the right tight ends right now. You can go Tyler Conklin from the New York Jets. You can go with Cole Kmet from the Chicago Bears. Just like I was talking about early in the episode, you have weeks. You have one good week from Cole Kmet, and he's in the top 10 tight ends. You have one good week from Tyler Conklin. He's getting some good attention, and he's in the top 10 tight ends. You also have Noah Fant, Chigo Okonkwo, Hunter Henry, Cade Otton, TJ Hawkinson would be also back in a month or so, but not really going to be able to be started. But when it comes to tight end, it's all dart throws right now, so don't panic when it comes to your tight end. If you have a solid tight end, you're just going to have to trust him. If you've got a Kyle Pitts, if you've got a Mark Andrews, you're just going to have to bite the bullet and really trust him over these next couple of weeks, and then we'll make our decision. But moving on into the big players we're going to be talking about, a couple quarterbacks that you can really add. If you're really in need, especially in deeper leagues, Andy Dalton is looking good. It's not something that I would really say is blowing the hinges off of your fantasy football waiver wire. I wouldn't spend all my budget or even my number one waiver wire priority on Andy Dalton. But if you're in need, remember it's still the Carolina Panthers, but Andy Dalton seems to have turned this Carolina Panthers offense around just in 1 week. They have some pretty decent matchups coming up, so I like adding Andy Dalton, the Red Rocket. You can also look at Geno Smith if he's available, but not many leagues have Geno Smith available, so he's not really officially a part of this episode because we really like to target players that are available in 50% or more of leagues, like Justin Fields, who's only rostered in 25% of leagues right now. He's coming off a game where he threw a touchdown, ran a touchdown, so he had the pair of touchdowns, and he's effectively led the Pittsburgh Steelers to a 3-0 record and has secured the starting role over Russell Wilson. It's safe to trust him if you need a quarterback, and he's facing the Indianapolis Colts next week in week 4, who have really been suspect when it comes to defense. They've taken a lot of injuries, especially in their secondary and in their defensive line. So you're looking at Justin Fields having the potential, especially with that running ability, to really have a great game in fantasy football this week. So he's not just an ad, but I might even start Justin Fields, especially if you're still waiting for Jordan Love, if you're still having some issues at the quarterback position. You can also add Sam Darnold, who's rostered in about only rostered in about 28% of leagues right now. He's got a combined 43.1 fantasy football points over the last 2 weeks. You're looking at him coming off of that 4 touchdowns last week as well. It was a really hot game for him, and he's still available in over 50% of leagues. And he plays Green Bay next week. A decent defense, but of course, with it being a division rival, they always have each other's number. So it's a very a risk or reward option that you can take with Sam Darnold this week when it comes to the Minnesota Vikings. So you're looking at him being a pretty safe option if you need some help. I'm also looking at moving on to the running back position. Braylon Allen, if he's still available, we talked about him last week as well. There really was not much to be taken from the Thursday night football game when it came to the Patriots-Jets game. However, I did take away that Braylon Allen hype is real. He got 14 touches as the backup running back. He's getting enough standalone value to earn flex appeal on your roster. It's a risk-reward option, but the attention and the volume that he's getting, because volume is key, as we know, it's putting him in flex conversation. I'm also looking at Bucky Irving from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who's rostered in less than 40% of leagues. He had 53 more yards on 3 more carries than Rachaad White last week. And you're looking at Rachaad White just plain old being ineffective. He's averaging 2.8 yards per rush right now. And Bucky Irving is effectively turning this into a committee where eventually he may take over that 1A role from the ineffective Rachaad White. Cover your ears, Rachaad White owners. I know it's tough right now. It's hard out here for a Rachaad White owner. I can't even lie about it. Moving on into the wide receiver position, top 2, we're talking about Quentin Johnston. First off, I'm not going to spend a ton of time. We've talked about him last week. If he's available in your league, which he's still available in over 60% of leagues right now, you're looking at him being talked about for the last 3 weeks, and he's still rostered in under 50% of leagues. He's coming off 3 touchdowns in the last 2 games combined, and he may have a low floor, but as long as he's scoring touchdowns, he's giving you flex appeal this season. I'm also looking at Juwan Jennings. We all saw what he did off the 3 touchdowns, 11 catches, 175 yards. We know the deal with Juwan Jennings. He might not get as much attention when Debo starts making his way back, when George Kittle makes his way back, but he's done so much in the postseason and in games like they had this week where they have to etch out a role for Juwan Jennings in this offense, and he's going to be the hot ad this week. I'm also going to be looking at Allen Lazard from the New York Jets. He's really benefiting from the chemistry that he really had with the Green Bay Packers with Aaron Rodgers. You're seeing it in him being Aaron Rodgers' first touchdown pass with the New York Jets, the first touchdown pass in MetLife Stadium. He's really benefiting off of that. You're looking at Garrett Wilson being the primary target. However, you're looking at Allen Lazard being the #1 points getter in fantasy football in this offense right now. He's benefiting off that chemistry, averaging 11.6 fantasy points per game right now. And Aaron Rodgers is getting better. If you didn't watch that Thursday night football game, I talked last week how he had 0 completions outside of the pocket. He was looking a little stuck in the mud, but Aaron Rodgers was starting to show flashes of an older version of Aaron Rodgers that we've seen in the Green Bay Packers uniform. So I'm starting to feel comfortable to add Allen Lazard and maybe even plug him into your roster. And now another option that may not be the sexiest option is Wan'Dale Robinson on only 25% rostered right now. You're looking at him getting 24 targets in the first 3 weeks, and he's averaging 11.6 points per reception, or 11.6 PPR points right now in fantasy football. That's about the same that Garrett Wilson is doing right now. So if you got Garrett Wilson and you're thinking about starting Garrett Wilson every week, why not plug Wan'Dale Robinson in your roster if you need him as well? That's going to do it for the players we're adding off the waiver wire this week. We also got some buy low trade targets, some players that you should be dumping off of your roster, as well as the start 'em sit 'em video coming out this week. And make sure you tune in to this Sunday's live pregame kickoff show, 9:30 Mountain Standard Time, 11:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, where we always go, well, we're going to have a special guest. We always give you guys some good advice on some FanDuel bets that you can make some money. We also give you some start 'em sit 'ems advice at the end of the day. We give you some breakdown on each game, some of the last minute injury reports as well. So make sure you tune into that live stream on Sundays. Make sure you hit that like button if you haven't yet, and hit that subscriptions bar. I'll make sure I hit you guys up next time I get out here, and keep your chin up and your attitude down. I'll see y'all next time. Peace out.
Bye.